Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And
Rose.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our reaction and review for the Pitt Season 2, Episode 4.
Mhm.
We're in a really interesting spot in the season now where we're far enough in to sort of be like, it's been nice to be reintroduced to Robby. It's been
Yeah.
nice to see, Javadi, Whitaker, all these other characters we love. But then at the same time, we're starting to just slowly see them all on the verge of falling apart. Like Robby is living in 100 degrees of denial, and then there
My
is
goodness.
Santos, where it just feels like she's one step away from just straight up either losing her job or having to repeat her year or something else terrible happening.
Yeah, this whole storyline with Dr. Al coming in and telling Santos that if she doesn't continue on with her reports, that she's not on top of it, she may have to repeat R2. And it's really interesting to me to sort of hear that she's even been dropping the ball on this, because for those of you who are new here, I'm a former funeral director and I was in health sciences, and we had to do internships kind of like this as well, where we also had to write up reports. We had to do 50 embalmings, and all these reports had to be in, or we had to repeat the year again. It's same sort of thing. I couldn't imagine just like letting that slide, where you would possibly have to redo your whole year. Like, nobody likes to sit around and fill out reports
Yeah.
and do paperwork.
Yeah.
But come on, Santos, you want to redo your whole year? Does she really think that anyone was going to let that slide? It's part of your program.
Yeah, it's an interesting character discussion to be had with her when it comes to what she thinks her privileges in the hospital, what she thinks really matters. I mean, we will talk a lot about her. And Robby, what are you continuing to do with yourself? There's a lot of psychological stuff there. We have a
Mhm.
Dr. Collins update
Yep.
and a whole lot more. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be here throughout the rest of the Pit this season. We're breaking everything down, sharing theories with you guys. If you have HBO Max, which you probably do if you're watching this video, we are in the midst of covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which has
Yes.
been a total delight so far this season. We also have coming up here Euphoria,
Yep.
House of the Dragon, Dune Prophecy. Really exciting year for HBO and a really exciting year for us being able to cover it.
Absolutely. And also, you can join our memberships if you want to check out the Pit Season 1. All of our reviews
Mhm.
are up there. It's a great way to check those out. It's exclusive for our members and our Patreons.
Mhm.
And it also helps us out here at the channel to continue to bring videos to you guys. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined our memberships. It's been really cool to see it growing. Thank you.
Thank you guys. We really, really appreciate that.
Okay, so karma's coming around for Santos. Listen, I know not everybody is on the same hill that I am, where I just don't like Santos. I'm
Mhm.
really sorry for what she's gone through in her past, and I know that hurt people, but she's at a point now where, like, all last season, she's just picking and picking and picking on people. She is in the workplace. You're
Yeah.
not in high school. You are in the workplace where people are trying to, like, get where they're going in their careers, make money, pay their bills. So going to work and getting picked on, I know that it happens, but it's not fun to watch. I'm not enjoying the character, and I'm sorry for what happened in her past, but it doesn't excuse the way that she's treating people now. And this season, what's going on, with Javadi and her, like, picking at her insecurities about possibly losing her position to somebody else there. I have just felt, and I've been really honest about this, I've just felt that it's really mean at this point, because that is starting to pick at somebody's potential career, their whole career path, losing their job, losing their money. Everything is all connected to your career once you're out of school, and picking at somebody's insecurity where now it's actually affecting their work. I wasn't sorry to see that Santos ended up getting put in her place by Dr. Al, who's just like, no, you don't get to just sort of walk around here and do whatever and not complete the entire program. You also have to play by the rules, and you also have to complete your reports, or else you're repeating R2. And I was like, yep, I would love to see her repeat R2. Just a
Here's
little bit of being humble.
There are two different kinds of arrogance, and we'll talk a lot about this through this video. I feel like the kind of arrogance Santos has, and I will make a very bizarre comparison. There is a basketball player who doesn't play anymore named Allen Iverson, and he was very famous for talking in a press conference when he was asked about practice, and he
Mhm.
responded by saying, "We're talking about practice, not a game, practice," with the implication there being practice doesn't matter as opposed to the game. And it's just like, you need both. And
Right.
Santos, I think she thinks she's the Allen Iverson of doctoring here, where being a good doctor, taking care of patients, helping everybody, like she's seemingly good at that. And because of that, it
Yes.
feels like she doesn't feel like this other stuff matters that much. She doesn't
Yeah.
need to do the paperwork. So she's got this brand of arrogance where she just feels like her skill set is such that she can blow everything else off and it's going to be fine because at the end of the day, they need her. And ultimately, yeah, what's going to happen to somebody like that is either she's going to be humbled, like you said, by Dr. Al and end up repeating this year, or she's just going to have so many different things happen to her throughout this day or the next
Mhm.
day or whenever the pit comes back for season 3 that eventually she'll get some sort of reckoning where she'll start to improve a little bit. But this brand of arrogance is not a kind that turns around overnight. Like I don't like Santos. I don't root for her. I don't mind watching her to, I know you don't really care to watch her. I don't mind watching her just because I think it will be interesting if change does
Mhm.
happen there.
Well, that's the thing is that her story this season is actually a 10 out of 10. I think that they've done a really nice job building up what you're talking about, that idea of having a little bit of, a reckoning that she's going to be humbled just a little bit because we also saw her make a mistake.
Yeah.
In hour 2 or 1 or whatever it was, where she thought that that little girl was having some other problem that she turned out not to be having. So she already had that in the back of her mind of like, oh man, I really made a mistake with that. I feel bad. This family's kind of all broken up now
Yeah.
because I've suggested this thing before. I looked at some other things. Oopsie. And she's not feeling that great about it. So then to also have Dr. Al come in and just be like, yeah, you're a good doctor and everything, but you can't continue on if you don't do this part of the job. It's the whole job. You can't just do part of it. So, get it together to the point that she's actually like changing Whitaker's name and swearing at him and
Yeah.
stuff. And she's already hasn't been that nice to him as she hasn't been with everybody, giving people kind of crappy nicknames. But once she's also including his nickname now, she's swearing at him. I mean, he knows that she's going down a hole.
Yeah, and there's a big chance Whitaker's going to be dragged down with her, and this is where my tinfoil hat of fear has to come on in
Oh
this moment.
no.
See, we're already seeing that Santos is really mailing it in with a couple of patients at this point because she's trying to get her forms up to date. She's letting other people in the hospital take the lead on certain cases, and she's just either standing there or typing things out. But we've also seen Whitaker at this point basically check some of her work and look back at things and maybe figure out diagnoses that she's
Mhm.
missed. My fear when it comes to all of this is that Whitaker is going to put himself out there so much for Santos that either Dr. Al's going to find out and she's going to chastise him for basically doing her work for her, or he's going to miss something on his own patients because he's preoccupied thinking of her because he feels like on some level he owes her because of the whole roommate situation and everything she's done for him. I think he feels this little protectiveness of her where he's probably willing to overlook some of her warts just
Mhm.
because he feels indebted. Like that's a push and pull that makes me really nervous.
Yeah, and I mean, he has kind of said that where he's just like, "Yeah, we're kind of friends now."
Yeah.
And Giovanni's like, "Are you?" Like, she's still calling you by this nickname that was not a term of endearment. This was a way to put you down, and she's still doing that, but you're saying that you're friends? Like, so you've just accepted that that's okay as a way to be treated as a friend, right?
Yeah.
But I could see that happening. I mean, he does feel indebted to her. He thinks that they're friends, that they're
Yeah.
building a friendship, and I think that they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, how much of this is going to end up coming back on him if he's trying to help her? I would like to see, and not just because I don't like Dr. Santos, but because I don't really see this a lot on medical shows, and it'd be kind of cool to see this show tackle it. And I'm not saying it's never been done on a medical show, but it's not the norm.
Mhm.
I'd actually like to see her have to repeat a year and see what that looks like for her while the rest of her, peers have moved on to R3, that she has gone back to R2 again, and how that actually works out.
I think there's a real interesting changing of the guard dynamics that could happen from something like that, where she has a little bit of a role reversal, for example, with Javadi and like all of these younger characters. She has to sort of swallow her pride and really focus on things in a different way.
Be
Like, I don't,
interesting.
yeah, I don't think personality wise they'll ever fully change her, but I think at the same
No.
time, they can evolve her. And I think that's
Yeah.
really what this show is all about. But
Mhm.
since I mentioned the two kinds of arrogance, I want to spotlight briefly Ogilvy here, who I have a very slightly different opinion of after this episode, where he's still obnoxious, but he is the kind of arrogant that is the deer thinking, oh, I can go on the ice now. And then the deer just spins out of control because in reality, it doesn't actually know what it's doing. I think this incident with pulling out the shard and not
Yeah.
realizing the problem that he's caused, I think this is actually going to stick with him. And I think
Mhm.
he's going to improve and change pretty quickly. I don't think this is going to be the same as Santos. I think a lot of his built-in arrogance was from, I need to impress people right now. I need to tell them how smart I am, even
Mhm.
though he's never really been in this position. This is a lot of humble pie to swallow right now in a way that's a little bit different than anything Santos had in season one. It's just a level of embarrassment where he's just going to have to be, I really have to be on my game now, even if I want to stay the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, he's only there temporarily. It
Yeah.
sounds like he's only there for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever it is. So, for him, if he really is looking to get a position there, and that is why he's there, yeah, this could really hurt him or not if he's able to, kind of shift through it. I mean, everybody who's new at stuff is going to end up having difficulties in it in internships or in these types of things. And if you have the right mentors with you, you can really get through these things. So here's a quick story time.
All
So,
right.
like I said, I'm a former funeral director, and in my internship, on the first day that I was at Ridley Funeral Home, shout out to Brad, who really was the best manager I've ever had. I mean, he absolutely really has the patience of a saint. We were down in the morgue and we were doing an embalming. And one of the things that you do with that is you use a trocar to be able to remove all the liquids from the torso. And there's a switch that can either suck the liquids out or a switch that can then push them out. And as it was getting pushed out and I was pulling out the trocar, it turned out that there was just blood and guts going all over everything, all over the morgue, all over the ceiling, and all over my boss. And I was like, I'm getting fired. That is the end of my internship. See you later, Brad. It's been a peach. And instead, he was like, give me 10 minutes. I need to go upstairs and shower immediately because, he's covered in bodily fluids.
Yeah.
Came back down and was like, let's try again. And, here at the hospital in the pit, I mean, there's a lot of Brads there that would do something like this. And I think that that can happen for Ogilvy as well.
Yeah, I think making mistakes is human. We've all made them in life. I think it's all, are you going to show a willingness to not make that mistake again? And
Right.
Ogilvy,
Yes.
he has said it won't happen again. And in
Mhm.
the moment he said that, I took it seriously. I don't
too.
know if this is just him feeling like he has to say this, but I think he's taking this seriously.
Yeah.
I'm more a little more invested in this character now. Like, he's still not my favorite. I'm not going to put him in my top 5 Pitt characters or anything like that, but at least it's adding a little bit more depth to that character.
Yeah, a little bit because it's felt like Ogilvy and Joy and Emma, they just haven't
Yeah.
had nearly enough to do to really get in depth with any of them.
Yeah, and the whole "oh, Emma drops the vial" thing, it felt like that was just played more for comic relief, and we didn't really know that character well enough to actually attach ourselves in any way
Right,
to it.
right.
Let's get into Dr. Robby here, because we've had a lot of time to watch him over these past few
Mhm.
episodes, and here's a little bit of what we know. We've talked at length about the whole motorcycle helmet debate,
It
but
was mentioned again. I mean,
yes,
Whitaker outside when they're like, "Oh, okay, we're all going outside. There's more people coming in," to have Whitaker look over and be like, "Nice bike."
yeah, like, clearly, that's obviously a big thing this season, and a lot of people have mentioned in the
Mhm,
comments and in the art of motorcycle maintenance. It's all seemingly
mhm,
coming back to that, but I think there's also this idea going on in Robbie's head, and I think it was very apparent in this episode as he's talking through therapy options in particular, that
mhm.
his strategy of dealing with all of this is, I'm just gonna wait for the day to be over. I'm gonna hop on my bike. I'm gonna go on my big elaborate tour, and that's gonna fix me. I think he legitimately feels like whatever he's doing while on this journey, and I know he
Mhm.
has said certain things, who knows if those are actually gonna be things he does or not.
Yeah.
He just seems to be of this belief that I will go and heal myself on this retreat, and it's all going to be fine. And I'm just sitting back and feeling like this is a huge mistake. And somebody like him should really know better. And he's turned
Mhm.
down these therapy options that have been presented to him. And I will say, story time on my own here, as somebody who has gone through therapy at various points in my life, there are instances of, oh, this therapist doesn't work. This therapist is saying something
For
really
sure.
weird to me. And
Mhm.
like, those things do happen, but the way in which Robbie says it, it comes across as very dismissive, as though I don't really want therapy. I'm just going to go and do this thing instead. So now I'm watching the rest of the season feeling like he's got to get to a point where he realizes how all of this is a mistake, and that, yeah, he can go on this trip, but if something goes wrong on his trip, he's still not going to be able to deal with it because it doesn't matter where he is.
It was interesting to hear that he has actually sat down with 2 people and,
Yeah.
he's being brought this 3rd person where it's like, "Okay, these guys didn't work out."
Mhm.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a while to find the right fit and the right person who's your person as a therapist, and, he didn't find them. But yeah, it feels a lot like, he's now, "Hey, we have this 3rd person." "Oh, well, I'm going on my trip." "You
Yeah.
can Zoom." Yeah, no, I'm not doing that." That it feels like, I tried 2 people, not working. Now I'm going to do it my way instead of taking the time to actually just find the right person that would be able to maybe help you.
And he's just the patron saint of I should know better. Like, the motorcycle's one clear example of it. But the other thing is that we've gone at length into all of the trauma this guy has suffered over the years, and
Yes.
especially what happened at this point 5 years ago, and how much this affected him in season one, where I'm sitting here now and I'm thinking, you've gone through all of these long, elaborate shifts at the hospital, and it seems like you feel that diving into the work is the way to deal with everything, because I don't have to think about it. If I'm at work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm
Right.
just going through the motions of my job, dealing with what I have to do. And now you're flipping that and being like, okay, I'm going to stop, and this will give me the peace. But peace and work are not two different, they're different. Like, he
Right.
can't justify using peace as an excuse to be like, okay, now I don't have to do the work anymore just because my mind's gonna relax. Like, that's actually gonna heal me, when it's just like, dude, you're a doctor.
Yeah, you have to do the work. And with that, let's talk about Langdon because I think we all kind of understood that Langdon was going to come back to work at some point.
Yeah, of
Robbie was
course.
like, "Oh man, I was hoping to just avoid him and that I wasn't going to run into him before I went on my sabbatical." And
Mm,
then what were you going to do, Robbie? You're going to come back in 3 months. You're going to have to deal with him anyways. So,
yeah.
like, deal with him now, deal with him then. Like, you can't just avoid him forever. You guys work at the same place. Just deal with it already. What Langdon did wasn't great,
Yeah.
but he has gotten treatment for it. He is working at it. He is taking responsibility for it. What else do you want this guy to do?
It just feels like he's in denial about everything. He's in denial about the state of his mind. He's in denial that Langdon is back. I think he just wants to pretend like he's not there so that he doesn't have to think about it for the rest of the day. And by the time he's back on sabbatical, maybe he'll be all better and he can handle it more than he is right now.
All right, Dr. J, let's talk about Giovanni
All
and what she's
right.
got going on her videos. It seems like she's got like a really big following. I was not expecting this. This was quite a surprise where it was like, oh yeah, I'm really popular.
It was very surprising. It was funny. Like, this is one of there were some comedic moments in this episode, but to me, this is the one that they actually really nailed.
They
Where,
paid it off.
yeah, where, Victoria comes across as so sort of quiet and unassured at times in the
Yes.
hospital, but she's got this persona where she's actually helping people in certain ways. And I
Yeah.
know for people who aren't necessarily super plugged in online, it might be like, okay, why are you taking medical advice from somebody you see on a social media app? But let's all be real. This happens all the time. And it makes sense that somebody who is around the age of this patient who's coming in with this particular problem, yeah,
Yes.
she would listen to a lot of social media. And of course, this person would be ridiculous enough to believe that Dr. J is the best doctor in all of Pittsburgh just because she makes videos online.
Okay, let's have a little bit of a beef. I have on my
All
beef
right.
hat because, I don't like to have beef, but I really do.
All
So,
right.
Robbie and his love life with this hospital, one of
Yeah.
the things that I really like about the Pit, I
Yeah.
mean, really like about the Pit, is that it's not like Grey's Anatomy. And it's still not like Grey's Anatomy where people are, hooking up and whatever, and there's so many romances or whatever. But
Yeah.
Dr. Robbie seems to be having all kinds of romances. Like last season, there was like whatever between him and Dr. Collins. There's something going on with this season with him and this nurse. Now we have Dr. Al even asking him out, being like, oh, when I win this bet, we'll go out for drinks. I'm like, I don't need this. I truly don't need Dr. Al flirting with Robbie and asking him out. I didn't need the nurse. The Collins thing was way more interesting than this.
Okay. Here's
Like, it's enough.
I'm going to put back on the tinfoil hat that was from episode 2, where we talked a little bit about Dr. Al and whether or not she's secretly investing in this app that she's pushing on all these people, because I can't figure out Dr. Al. And it's kind of frustrating as a viewer because, yeah, there's these moments where she's very flirty to Robbie in some sort of weird way.
Yeah.
Then she has this moment where she's coming down hard on Santos. Then she has this moment where she's willingly volunteering up her money to the what's going on
Yeah.
in the Code Black
That was
situation.
weird. I did not expect
No.
that from her. And then she's like, I've never been sued.
Yeah.
The whole thing is very odd.
It feels to me like she's presenting different versions of herself to different people depending on what she feels is right. And this brings me back to because she's secretly trying to set up something that she
Yes.
wants to be a success. So she's trying to quote unquote either endear herself or make herself look impressive to the right people, even as something as simple as we're going to put money on this. It feels like, oh, she's just trying to endear herself to the hospital staff.
Mhm.
Some of these people, I'm going to put a beef hat on now as well. Welcome to the Beef Club. I don't like that they're doing this again with the let's put money on something where it feels like, are you guys just doing this all the time? Do you have problems you need to go and get taken? Because it's one thing to do it with everything with the ambulance in
Mhm.
season 1. It was fun. This time it just felt like you guys don't have any new material, so you're just repeating the same joke in a different way. It just, can you give the security staff something different to do at the hospital other than just sort of regurgitating what we already saw in a different form?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that in health
Mhm.
services, same with funeral service, which is also health services, you have to have a bit of a darker sense of humor to be able to get through some of your days. I
Yeah.
mean, it's both of these professions are very, very difficult and can take a real toll on your mental health.
Yes.
So, yeah, making bets on things that are traumatic is
Yeah.
very, very dark, but I didn't expect it to come back up
Yeah.
again this season.
No, I didn't think so. That's why I'm just sitting here. Could the security guard have just been like, hey, it's a really hard day. How about I throw a pizza party for everybody? Or how about I do something else that's fun?
Yeah.
It's just, there are other ways to incorporate other branches of the hospital that aren't quite this. But since, I came down hard on that storyline.
Mhm.
I will be here to praise how they handled Dr. Collins in this episode. I really like that they didn't just give us a reason for her departure right away. It would have felt kind of inorganic and
Mhm.
weird. Why are you going to be talking about a doctor who's not there anymore?
Mhm.
But to have it be presented in the way it was, where it was tied to a patient
Mhm.
and then we get some sort of resolution. I enjoyed that because it made me feel happy that she's out somewhere doing something she still cares about and getting something that she really wants.
Oh, after everything she went through season 1 and losing the pregnancy, to hear that she's doing well, she's adopting. I'm an adoptive mom. I love hearing adoption stories, even fictional ones. It was really warmed my heart. I mean, I really like Dr. Collins. I was really bummed that this character was gone this season, but they did her right.
Yeah. So as we do start to look ahead here, I there's a couple of things that are on my mind. Number
Mhm.
one is that Dr. Abbott's got to be coming up almost right away now, because now
Gosh, I hope so.
we have an actual reason for him to be there now,
Yep.
where it's these patients are rushing in more and more. I'm kind of surprised they didn't mention him in this episode when Langdon was starting to come over, where it's just this feeling of, oh, you guys are starting to be really short staffed. We didn't see him leaving his shift at the start
Yeah.
of this day. So maybe he didn't work overnight this past
Mhm.
time. Maybe he doesn't have to come in 7 or 8 episodes a little bit later. I think it's something to clock over the next couple. I do think it's interesting as well that they kind of put a time frame on when we're going to see Mel's deposition, and it seems
Yeah.
like that's several episodes down the line. There's
Yeah.
a part of me doesn't like it because it feels like they haven't given her anything to do in the past couple of episodes.
Her story is flopping for me, which hurts my heart to say because she is definitely one of my favorite
Yes.
characters on this show. I absolutely just love her. But this storyline has been a flop for me. I understand that, this happens and they're going to want to tell the story, but her screen time has been so small
Yeah.
because it's all she's talking about and all she's thinking about that she hasn't really had any screen time.
The one way they could still make this interesting for me is that this head injury poses a longer issue than it's been presented as so far. And it ends up, she has to do this when she's not fully herself. Maybe one of the
Yep.
other doctors comes in and helps her. Like, it would be interesting to see this presented because we haven't seen this presented in the world of the pit so far. But
Mhm.
it just feels like if it's as sort of down the road, exactly down the middle as we've seen so far,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of boring. It's really not that exciting. And I like this character and I want something more from her.
They're wasting her.
Yeah, but that's where we are coming out of the pit season 2, episode 4. But
Mhm.
let's turn this over to you guys. Do you think Dr. Santos is going to end up having to repeat this year? Is she going to take Dr. Whitaker down with her? Let us know. Hit that subscribe button. And if you guys do want to
Mhm.
support us further, be sure to join our memberships. We have season 1 of the pit there. We're covering
Yeah.
Hijack right now. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time.